Welcome to the Southern California Prep Insider podcast. You'll notice a little bit different. No more fancy graphic behind me. I will explain why shortly. But first, Shotgun, how you doing today?
Hanging in there. We're getting ready for another trip this weekend. Went to Stanford last weekend, so while I was up there, I went and saw a Bay Area high school game, a NorCal game, to see Giles Jackson, who told me he was going to commit on Monday. He committed to Michigan. Congratulations to him. So that's not Southern Section, though, but that's where I was last weekend, so I didn't get to see all these games. Now I had to catch up on it, so I made a little bit more of a challenge. And this week we're going to Austin for USC's football game, so we'll see if I probably will catch a high school game before I leave for Austin, so don't want to miss out on Southern Section action twice in a row.
Yeah, I can't do that. Southern Section too good this year. So Shotgun, who's in your top 10?
My top 10 didn't really change that much. One slight change, but, everybody's winning. Everybody's taking care of business. So still number 10, I got Westlake. Still number 9, I got Upland. Both of those teams had pretty easy wins. Upland beats La Mirada 35-7. Westlake beats St. Francis 35-21. And Westlake scoring 3 touchdowns on special teams, getting a job done, even when your offense isn't really clicking completely. Jason Heller had an 81-yard punt return. He just does everything for them on that team. He's just been a complete dude for them, even though he's just a short guy that is speedy and just is hard to tackle and everything else. They actually lost QB Marco Siderman with an ankle injury. He left the game, so that's a bit of a concern there. At number 8, I still have Orange Lutheran. They were on a bye. Number 7, Jay Sarah beats Pinnacle. I thought about moving them up, but it's hard to do that. It was a good win for them against Pinnacle, a very good team. Chris Street, 187 yards. Sean Nielsen, their San Diego State defensive line commit, ran for 2 touchdowns and had 3 sacks. Big game for him. It was hard to move them up, though, because Oast Christian took care of business against Alemany, beating them 56-14. Game of the week last week, I believe it was. Zach Charbonnet only needed 7 carries to get 129 yards and a touchdown. And Stanford commit Bryce Farrell had 2 TDs, receiving and a punt return. He also had a punt return TD called back, so he could have had 3 there. Cajon State at number 5. Number 4, I had Mission Viejo. They beat Villa Park 28-14. Not a really convincing win there, but they took care of business. Joey Yellen, 20-34, 291 yards and 3 TDs. He's thrown for nearly 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. And that defense, especially the secondary, 9 interceptions in the last 3 games, including the Kelly Arnold getting his 5th one of the year. So, they're taking care of business in that back end. And they're going to face some throwing offenses coming up soon, especially when they get in the playoffs as well. So, a really good sign for them that their defensive secondary is playing really well right now. I kept up my top 3 stayed the same. I still have Bosco at number 3. I know everybody else has them as number 1, but I haven't seen them beat the teams that that Centennial and Mater Dei have. So I got them at number 3. We'll see what happens next week. Next week it could be a lot different because Mater Dei goes to face IMG in one of the games of the year. So, but I got Bosco at number 3. They beat Paramount 56-12. DJ Ualele, 6 of 8, 76 yards, 4 touchdowns and 6 completions. So that's pretty good percentage there. But he wasn't even as good as his 2020 counterpart, Bryce Young. Bryce Young, 16 of 16, 324 yards, all in the first half. And Brew McCoy, TD catches of 60 yards, 43 yards, 15 yards, and 60 yards. 4 touchdowns in the first half. Mater Dei wipes up Stockton St. Mary's 56-0. I think that might have even been the halftime score. They just rolled to that victory. And then Centennial plays another good team. They beat Narbonne 42-23. They threw for 323 yards and 4 TDs in their quarterback combination. And then Reggie Ratzliff, 5 catches, 100 yards for 2 TDs. So Centennial stays at number 1. They've played quality opponents every week, so I'm not going to move them down for beating up on good teams.
Our top 10 is pretty similar over here at Southern California Prep Insider. The one difference, only team that is different, we have Survey creeping in there at number 10, Upland number 9, Cajon number 8, Lou at 7, J. Sarah 6. Mission Viejo's got a big test this week at number 5. Oaks Christian number 4. Centennial is 3 for us, 2 Mater Dei, and 1, we're like everybody else, sorry to be boring, Shotgun, we have Bosco. So that is the top 10 for Southern California Prep Insider. Top players from last week. Let me know when you need your halftime intermission because I know you got a lot.
Cooper Mink at Sherman Oaks Notre Dame. He ran for 69 yards and 3 touchdowns. The quarterback also was 9 for 9, 120 yards, 5-7 win. Congratulations to Notre Dame bouncing back there. Aliso Nagels, Kyle Robertson, quarterback, 21 of 25, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 42-21 win. He's been one of the most efficient passers in the league or in the Southern section this year. I think he's throwing for over 70% of his passes. How about Drew Ramirez from Santa Ana in that loss to Aliso Nagel? Had 36 carries, 239 yards, and a touchdown. A workhorse load there, but he also had 6 kickoff returns. He had 5 catches, and he threw a 29-yard touchdown pass. The man did it all for him, and his team still lost 42-21. How about John Humphreys from Corona Del Mar? I love this kid. He's a junior. He's going to be really good, even better next year. 3 TDs after having 3 TD catches after having 5 catches, 155 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's got 30 catches for 569 yards and 10 touchdowns in 4 games. He is a touchdown target there. How about Christian Stewart at Brea Olinda? 24 carries, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also a 90-yard kickoff return for a touchdown there. Nathan Manning, we mention him probably every week. The Cal baseball commit, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns for Capistrano Valley in a 28-14 win. Jack Miller from Marina, 20 of 32, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a loss to Catella, but he did as much as he could. Hayden Gladden, how about this quarterback from Artesia? 18 carries for 282 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground from the quarterback spot. He also threw for another TD and a win. And Jaden Casey from Calabasas did a quarterback. He had, instead of 5 touchdowns, he had 6, did it a little bit different way, airing it out, 371 yards, 5 catches and 158 yards and 2 touchdowns going to Jermaine Burton, the transfer from, I think, Louisiana. So Burton comes in and he's making a big impact already. Austin Stover at El Toro, he had 6 touchdown passes and a 56-35 win over Trabuco Hills. And then how about the Western Trio? I think we mentioned them, at least if not every week, then every other week. Anthony Munoz, the quarterback, 330 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and he does it to the Savage brothers. Kane Savage, 4 catches, 112 yards, 2 TDs. Cassius Savage, 6 catches, 110 yards, and a TD. I mean, Kane Savage is still my favorite name, I think, in the last 5 years. What a great name. I mean, you going up against that guy, you line up as a DB, and you go, all right, who I got today, coach? Oh, you got Savage. All right, which Kane Savage? Man, he might kill his brother or something. You never know. Cain and Abel type thing. So you already know he's a savage. Hey, that kid's he's having a great year so far as well. I mentioned John Humphreys from Corona Del Mar. Ethan Garbers, his quarterback, had 4 TD passes. He ran for a touchdown as well in that win. Nick Thornburg from Hemet threw for 181 yards, a touchdown. He also ran for 110 and 3 touchdowns, so 4 touchdowns there. A lot of quarterbacks, supplying the juice for their teams this week. How about you? What do you got? You got a couple for me?
Yeah, I got a few. We're going to start with Julian Carter from Westchester, 279 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He also ran for 85 yards. Pretty impressive day there for Julian. Isaiah Howard from Palmdale, 209 rushing yards and 4 TDs. Jeff Widener, a kid who we could probably mention every single week as well, 473 passing yards, 8 touchdowns for Apple Valley. Hank Bachmeyer, Murrieta Valley, in a big bounce-back win for them against San Clemente, had 346 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eric McLawyer from Huntington Beach, 189 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Cole Gallagher from Saugus, 88 rushing yards. He only had like 11 carries, 88 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. So very efficient day for Cole.
Bachmeyer, I was really impressed with him bouncing back. I expected San Clemente playing at home to be able to get that win. I thought that they had an opportunity to get that win, but Bachmeyer was just a beast in that game. A couple other guys I got that had really good games. Ashton Autremont had 3 touchdown catches for Riverside Notre Dame in their win. Shane Illingworth from Norco, 356 yards passing, 2 touchdowns in a win over Vista Murrieta. How about Eddie McCullough from Beaumont? He came off the bench late in the second quarter. Quarterback comes in. His team's struggling. They're down 20-0, I think, at halftime. He throws TD passes of 86, 32, 82 yards, leading his team back from that 20-0 deficit for a 28-20 win over their rival Banning. Big game from him, and he's going down in the legend book in a rivalry game like that. So congratulations to Eddie there. Nehemiah Thompson from San Fernando, 16 carries, 131 yards, 3 touchdowns. But he also did it on the defense side. 11 tackles, 6 of them for loss, and a sack in that game. Ryan Camacho from West Ranch, we bring up the Camacho brothers nearly every week, 4 touchdowns for him. Dupree Fuller from El Camino Real, 5 carries, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he also had 7 tackles and 2 sacks on the other side. Love those two-way guys. Zach Johnson from Hart.
Great nickname for him, You Mean Dupree. He's more than one person.
He does it on everything. You can put him on special teams too. Zach Johnson from Hart had 5 TD passes, including 3 to Drew Munoz. And about Trinell Ridgely from St. Paul, 18 carries, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns in their win. Malcolm Perry for Downey, 225 yards, 3 touchdowns in a win over San Pedro. And Zachariah Dolphin from Long Beach Wilson, 11 catches, 212 yards, 3 touchdowns in a win over St. Anthony. Couple more just to Alhambra. How about them finding a way to win as a team despite 6 turnovers, 13 penalties, and only 143 yards of total offense? You know, whatever it takes to get the win, right, Tommy?
Defense, man.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And then one guy that helped his team get that win, Garrett Crenshaw from Cyprus, threw a 23-yard touchdown pass on 4th and 7 to beat Sonora 17-13.
There it is. Those are all the top players from last week. Shocking you catch your breath real quick. We got to get into this now. We got our – oh, no, actually first, before we get to our game picks, obviously we got to go to our field reporters. We're going to start at Los Alamitos.
Thanks, Tommy. I'm really looking forward to this week's games. We have a lot of exciting non-conference matchups, but I wanted to start off with a little recap of last week. Mater Dei has had a pretty relaxed schedule so far. They've shut out 3 opponents in a row, and last week they went 56-0 against St. Mary's. You can watch my interview with 5-star recruit Brew McCoy on Twitter. Jay Sarah defeated the number 2 ranked team in Arizona, Pinnacle, 42-35, and ended their 3-game winning streak. The Lions are now 4-0. But today I'm at Los Alamitos High School. The Griffins started out the season with a tough 38-35 loss to Vista Murrieta, but bounced back with a major win against Long Beach Poly, and last week they defeated the Banning Pilots 49-13. Let's see how the Griffins are doing. I'm here with Coach Snyder, assistant head football coach at Los Al and offensive line coach. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So you've been a Griffin since high school. You played here and you've coached here ever since. What does that mean to you?
It means the world. This place has been my home. I grew up in the community, and then I went off to college and came home, and then started coaching right out of high school. So I've pretty much been here every year since 2003, and it's been a dream.
For those who don't know, can you tell me a little bit about the Griffin culture, Griffin Grill, what it's like here on game day, and how the city shuts down?
Well, it's amazing because we try and achieve in almost any sense. We have the 4 A's: academics, athletics, activities, and the arts. And we have students who are amazing in everything. I'm an AP teacher. I do AP World History, but I have students who are amazing artists. We have the Los Al Locos, the student section, who's been top 5 in Orange County the first 2 weeks. The activities are amazing. Athletics, of course, we're almost a CIF sport in every sport. And then we have academics, where we're offering almost more AP classes than any school in the nation. Our kids are going to find a way to achieve, and we have people that are going to spend the time to get them there. So it's been really nice.
The Griffins had a major win over Long Beach Poly. Can you tell me what was going on in the locker room at halftime when the Griffins recorded the only touchdown of the first half?
Well, as we went in, we were all about focus and adjustments. Because it's about my 6th time playing and coaching against Long Beach Poly. And I always know they're one big play away. They're such a great football program, such a great football team. In the 3rd quarter, they had a big play down the middle of the field, but it wasn't a touchdown. They had to drive down and score. But we were about focus and finish. We had to finish the game. You don't get to win a half. You have to win a game. Double zeros at the end of the game is what it's about. And I'm annoying to some people, because if you ever watch me at practice, I'm either yelling score or finish on every play.
How are you guys preparing for Carson this week?
Carson's a good football team. They're athletic. They're going to get after it. Coach Ale is their guy. He's a Carson guy. He played in the NFL, and he's going to get his guys to just compete, just play fast, just play physical, and that's the Carson way. That's how they've been forever. It's a pretty special thing for us to knowing the history of Southern California football. Playing Carson and Banning, one of the biggest rivalries in California. So playing Carson, we're going to get ready for a physical battle. So we have to play fast, and we have to play discipline, and we have to handle the football.
Thank you so much, Coach, and we wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This week we have a lot of exciting non-conference matchups. J. Sarah is playing Faith Lutheran, the number 8 ranked team in Nevada. Santa Margarita is playing Orem, the number 3 ranked team in Utah. Bosco is at Chaminade. Mission Viejo is at Upland, and you can watch that game at 7:30 p.m. on Fox Sports Prime Ticket. Servite is at Villa Park. Orange Lutheran is back this week after a bye, and they're going to be playing an away game at Heritage. And Mater Dei is on a bye week this week, but they're going to come back to play number 1 ranked team, IMG Academy, and that should be a really fun game to watch. That's all from me. Back to you, Tommy.
Shotgun, what do you think about Los Al this season?
I was really surprised at how they were able to beat Long Beach Poly earlier in the year. I think that they've really built off that, and they should be a contender in their league this season.
All right, we'll go from there to Centennial all the way out in Corona.
Yeah, thank you, Tommy. This time around, I was lucky enough to speak with head coach here at Corona Centennial, Matt Logan, the infamous Matt Logan. Now, back in 2017, there were rumors going around saying that he was potentially going to go to a different school to start coaching, potentially private, this and that, but he shut those rumors down very quickly and said, nope, you can count on me staying here at Centennial for another decade or so. And when I asked him about why he chose to do that, he says because he went to high school in this district, and this is just somewhere that he feels very comfortable with, as well as the district is very great to him. The principals that have come in and out in his time here, been here over 20 years at this point, they've all treated him with a lot of respect, and the players and other coaches have also treated him with great respect. So a lot of that has, a lot to do with the reason why he wants to stay here for at least a decade. I'm sure we can even count on more at this point. Let's take a look and see what he had to say. Now, Coach, last year there was a lot of talk about you potentially going to a different school, but you shut those down right away. You said, I'm going to be staying here at Centennial for another decade. You can count on it. Now, what is it about Centennial that just makes you really decide, this is where I want to stay? I'm sure it's not that traffic on the 91 and 15 surrounding it. So what is it about the atmosphere here at the school?
Ever since I got here, first of all, I grew up in this school district, in this community, so very familiar with everything, obviously. But the big thing here is our administration and our school district is so supportive of kids, not just sports and our football program, but every kid in the whole aspect of school, not just the academic portion, but everything extracurricular, which involves football and those things like that. So, the district's been amazing. The school's been amazing. I've been very fortunate. I think this is my 5th principal, and they've all been great and super supportive. So that's been great, and I love it here. If you enjoy what you do, why would you want to change?
And what is it like for you to be one of the solo public schools that gets to hang out there with the private schools? You are one of your top 3 in California, top 10 in the nation. What is that like for you?
It's awesome. I think a couple things. One is we've got a very stable coaching staff, I think, is a credit to that. And then our kids. Our kids just believe. They come here and they want to play football. They know they're going to work hard. They know what the expectation level is, and they accept that. They don't shy away from competition, just in practice alone, let alone what we're going to face on the field. So, again, a stable coaching staff, and then our kids that come here to compete.
And you are someone, reading up on you, you're very close with the players that you coach. You do have kids of your own, correct? And when you're out there, you guys maybe you lose at the end of CIF, and it's over for you guys, but you go out there, you pat the kids on the back, you say good luck, you follow them in their careers. When they score a touchdown, you're celebrating with them. Now, how important is that relationship that you build with each and every one of these players?
That's the best part of being a coach, and being around the kids and get to know them and hopefully help them in some capacity, whether it be at the very least on the football field, but hopefully academically and in life. And that's we got 2 former players standing over here, and it's great to talk to them and see them and watch their careers progress. And that's what it's all about, just developing relationships with these guys and knowing what they went through. Obviously I'm a lot older and things were a little different then, but having an idea of what they've gone through and what they're about ready to go for, and try to prepare them for that next level.
Now, your offense year in and year out is known as being one of the best, but your defense this year is also looking just as great. What are your thoughts on the defense so far this year?
They've played phenomenal. It's been great. It's really nice to have that security blanket there. So if we screw up on offense, which we have quite a bit this year, unfortunately, they're there for us to pick us up and get it going. So it's nice to have for sure, and we definitely don't want to waste it. So we got to get our end going on the offensive side.
How does the atmosphere change around here when I'm just going to assume that you guys are going to make it to the postseason. I think it's safe for me to assume that. How does the atmosphere around here change?
You know what? We treat everything the same, honestly. It doesn't matter who we're playing or whatever it is. I mean, obviously, when you lose in the playoffs, your season's over. So we talk about the finality of that and how important it is to bring it every week when it comes to playoffs. But, it's just we treat everybody the same. It's about us getting better, improve upon the mistakes that we made the week before, and just work each day to get better.
Now, so far this season, you are 4-0. You faced Narbonne 42-23 win right there, as well as Olu 45-28 win. The next couple of weeks, you have Norco and Santiago. Those might be some of your toughest competitors. What can we really expect from you guys at the end of this season?
We're going to wrap up preseason with homecoming this week with Valley View, and then we'll start league play. And we know how it is for league. We're everybody's Super Bowl. So all these kids grew up together playing against each other, so they all know each other. They love each other and they hate each other. So especially on that night, it gets to that point. But it's a great competition. We like it. We want to make sure that we show them who's top dog out here, though.
Thank you for your time, Coach. I look forward to watching you.
All right. Thank you very much.
As Coach Logan mentioned, what's great about this 2018 team is that, their offense here has always been really great, very reliable, but now their defense has finally caught up with the offense, and they're now helping them out in more ways than one. For the rest of this season, they only have a couple of teams that are going to be a little tough. They have Norco, as always, and Santiago, of course. And so those are going to be two pretty great games to watch right there. Aside from that, I'm sure it'll be smooth sailing to the postseason for them. That's all for me. Back to you, Tommy.
Shotgun, you've liked the Huskies all year long, so I'll let you say your piece here.
And Jessica was absolutely correct in pointing out that Centennial's defense has carried them. Their offense has always been good. Their defense has been, they've won games 56 to 52 at times in the past. But this year, they're really getting after the quarterback. Drake Jackson on the end is a big time recruit this season. And then on the other side of the line, they have Corey Foreman, two guys coming off the edge. Corey Foreman's an underclassman. Both those guys are getting after quarterback and causing a lot of havoc in the backfield. They lead that defensive line and pressuring the quarterback, and I think that's been a big difference for them. That's why I like this Centennial team so far. They've just been, beating up on some good teams. You saw it firsthand, that Orange Lutheran game. You saw how good they were, how good Ryan Helinski was in the first half. And then you see when that defense was able to get after him in the second half, it changed the game completely.
Yeah, I got to see them week 0 and week 1. So got to double up there in the beginning of the season. Next, we'll go to a school that I don't think we've talked about yet. St. Paul. Connor, take it away.
I'm here at St. Paul High, where the Swordsmen are off to a 4-0 start. In the latest Southern Section Division 5 football poll, St. Paul comes in at number 3. Earlier on at practice, I caught up with senior linebacker Jojo Troncosa, and he explained to me why his team has started so well.
I feel that this year we're just more in sync together. We have good composure with each other. Everybody's in the zone every time. The game ready all the time, and we just are ready for anybody right now. Just getting ready, perfectly.
The most exciting game for you guys so far in this 4-0 start, it was that Los Altos game, double overtime victory. Just take me through how you guys were able to come out on top in that one.
Well, we came off really, really focused, and after halftime, the other team just clicked and they just started trying to figure us out a little more. But we came back harder, and we just had to tighten down, get ready for whatever they brought to us, and we did it and came out with the win.
You mentioned Paraclete earlier. They're up next for you guys on the schedule. It's Monday, but what's the preparation been like for them? I know it's early.
We're working out here right now. It's first day, and coaches guys going through a lot of new stuff. Just trying to stay focused right now and get ready for that big game. Trying to show everybody what we're about.
Right now, you guys are number 3, I believe, in the Southern Section Division 5 poll. Thoughts on the ranking?
Trying to be number 1. Trying to go number 1 this year. It's our year. I feel like it, and we've done everything it takes to be number 1, and I just hope we come out that.
You're averaging 8 tackles a game right now. Against Birmingham, you had 2 picks and a touchdown on offense. You're kind of doing it all. What's prepared you to be so successful?
Mentally, my coaches have been helping me out. My linebacker coordinator, he's been showing me a lot of new techniques, and we've just been working together every day. And we just always have to get game ready always and just stay in a positive mood all the time.
Coach Cepeda's, he's an intense guy, but also charismatic and friendly off the field. What's your relationship like with him, and how much fun is it playing for him?
It's a good experience. He's a good coach. He takes care of all of us. He's like a father, father figure. He always is telling us to do right and do good, and just, football's everything.
You were an all-league player last year. You've gotten off to a fantastic start this season. What do you think people are going to remember when JoJo Troncosa comes up in conversations years from now? It's a tough question.
Yeah.
Or what do you hope they say?
I hope they say I'm the man when I was here. Man. I just feel like I've always the one to get the team going, and we always I've always felt like I was supposed to do that just for the team. We're a team, so we have to play together and act right together. So I feel like that's what they should know about me.
Started 4-0. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. How do you finish strong?
Finish strong by staying together and being one team, and just always focusing on what we really want is that ring, and that's all.
It's JoJo Troncosa. JoJo, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So there's your update from St. Paul. Let's move on now to my game balls, where I highlight some of the top players from the past week in the northern part of the southern section. Beginning in Westlake, Cameron Fabiculanen played a huge role in Westlake's victory over St. Francis on Friday. He blocked a punt that ended up resulting in a touchdown for Westlake. He returned an onside kick for a score, contributed on offense and on defense. Three-phase player. I was really impressed with the Washington commit. He gets a game ball from me. And then up there at Notre Dame, Sherman Oaks, sophomore quarterback Cooper Meek made his first ever start on the road against Paraclete. And guess what happened? Notre Dame running clocks Paraclete. Cooper Meek was a great game manager all night. He rushed for 2 scores, completed some nice passes, really made a terrific debut. I was impressed with him, so he gets a game ball for me as well. And then finally, how about JP Andrade? He threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for 2 more, and a big win for Bonita over San Dimas. Really impressed with his play. That was a big game on Saturday night. So JP Andrade, you get a game ball from me as well. Finally, let me make my one pick. I was somehow correct last week. Sarah managed to come back and beat Long Beach Poly, but it did not look good for a while. So I had Sarah last week. Let's continue that trend. Give me Moore Park over Westlake. I think that's going to be a really tight game, but Drake London and the rest of that Moore Park team, they have Westlake at home. I think they come out with a victory, give Westlake their first loss. That's a battle of 2 undefeated teams, going to be a really exciting game, but give me Moore Park in that one. Tommy, back to you.
All right, thank you to all of our field reporters for doing a great job every single week. We get to the contentious part, the predictions. Again, all these games are available on Fox Sports Go, so watch them all on Friday nights so you can kind of play along with us. The first game, we're going to talk about 2 more teams we haven't really discussed that much this season. Mayfair traveling to Warren.
Yeah, you got some teams from the Long Beach area. Mayfair's coming off a 55-7 loss to Santa Margarita, but I think they're a little bit better than that. It's always tough playing those Trinity League teams, whereas Warren's coming off a 34-28 loss to Culver City on a late touchdown. Warren played their last game a lot closer, but I'm taking Mayfair in this. I think they bounce back, from a very tough loss against Santa Margarita, go on the road, and I think they get a win at Warren.
The one thing I do like about Mayfair is I always tend to side with the running teams because they're just more consistent. Justin Walker and T-Strong Metaele have combined for 594 yards on the ground and 9 touchdowns for Mayfair. But Warren, they got a pretty good passing attack. So I might go against the grain here because Chris Venegas with 778 passing yards and 7 touchdowns. And the stat I love, 0 interceptions for Chris so far this season. So I'll take the home team. I will take Warren. Next, the team that we talk about seemingly, 2 teams we talk about seemingly every single week. It is Narbonne traveling to Sarah.
2 teams that are usually really, really good and, at the top of in our rankings, but this year, not so much. Narbonne has really struggled this season. They're coming off a loss to Centennial. They schedule really tough and, has not paid off so far because they've kind of taken some beatings from some teams. That offense just is not clicking yet. They get Jake Garcia, the quarterback, who's a transfer from Long Beach Poly. They get him eligible, I think, in September. Maybe they'll be a different team then, but I think just the quarterback play hasn't been great for them. So I've got Sarah in this one. They're coming off a win over Long Beach Poly where they got down early, but they fought their way back. They've got a young quarterback in Doug Brumfield, and I think he's only growing each game. I think they're going to get better and better. And playing at home, I think I got Guardian Sarah in this one.
Yeah, Narbonne, they got, sophomores trying to play quarterback right now. I think in a couple of years, those guys will be fine. It's just maybe too much for them too soon. I got to see Sarah last week against Long Beach Poly. I was impressed. A kid I really, really was impressed by, and I'm bummed because the footage on this play didn't really turn out, but that's okay. Melquan Stovall, an electric wide receiver for them, cornerback. He had an amazing return. He reversed fields it felt like twice and made everybody miss. He eventually got caught on the 10, but it was a great play. He's a great playmaker. He's a little bit undersized, so maybe the bigger schools haven't looked at him yet, but trust me, it'll happen for him. He's a great athlete. He wears number 6 for them. I'm going to take Sarah as well. Next, we got Cathedral at Bishop Amat.
I love that Stovall also catches everything. He's one of those guys. Going to Cathedral at Bishop Amat. I saw Cathedral earlier in the year. They've got a good rushing attack. Kind of a two man balance with Terrence Simon, who's a big back who can make guys miss a little bit, and they got a smaller scat back. So they're predicated on that run. And then Bishop Amat, they played some tough games. They lost to Mater Dei. They had the 1-point loss to to another Trinity League team. So they've been right there with some games. I think they get this win over Cathedral. Cathedral a little bit different this year without Bryce Young at the quarterback spot. Obviously transferring to Mater Dei, so it takes a little bit away from that offense. They were still have been playing well. They beat up on Loyola last week in that big rivalry game. But I think Bishop Amat gets over the hump after some tough and close losses earlier in the season.
Yeah, I'll say this about Bishop Amat. They're going to be good this year. But I like Cathedral as well. This will be the closest game, I think, of all the games on the docket here. But I'm going to go with Cathedral. Brandon Jordan and Terrence Simon Jr., who you just talked about, are combined for 611 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns this season. They're averaging just around 6 yards a carry between the two of them, too, which is pretty impressive. If you can run the ball for 6 times every time you hand it off, which is pretty easy by second down to get that first down. So I'm going to go with Cathedral next. We got Westlake traveling to Moore Park.
Westlake's coming off the win. We talked about how they scored 3 touchdowns on special teams. They're going to have to do a little bit better job on the offense and defensive sides in this game. And it's the question mark with Marco Siderman leaving the game with an ankle injury. Is he going to be ready? Is he not? I've seen Moore Park early in the season. They've got just an absolute beast at wide receiver at Drake London. A guy that's 6'5", plays basketball too. But when he catches the ball, he looks like a Julian Edelman type in the slot. He can make guys miss. You can throw him screen passes. You can do that. He can use his strength. He can use his size. He's just a dynamic weapon for Moore Park. And then Alec Powell on the ground has been really good for them as well. They've got a young quarterback who's been pretty good. So I think Moore Park can win this at home, even though I've got Westlake as the ranked team. Yeah,
Westlake's a team that has been right towards the bottom of our top 10 for Southern California Prep Insider, but Moore Park, man, the more I look at them and the more I'm impressed. I was going to mention the same 2 guys. Alec Powell, he's got 386 rushing yards so far in the season, but he's doing that on 11 yards per carry. Everybody knows Drake London, absolute stud wide receiver. He's going to be the best athlete on the field. This is hard to say. He's going to be the best athlete on the field no matter who he's going up against. I'm going to call that right now. You don't see a lot of two-sport guys like that.
Now, the thing is, Westlake has a really good cornerback in Cameron Fabulicana, who I believe is committed to Washington. So that could be an interesting Pac-12 matchup there with Drake London committed to USC. If they match him up one-on-one, that's going to be a fun matchup to watch. It's something that I would love to be out and get out to that game just to see, those 2 guys go at each other.
Well, the fortunate thing, Shotgun, if you have your phone with you, you can check it out on the Fox Sports Go app.
That is true.
Free plug. No, but yeah, I got a lot of love for the guys the grid hoopers, guys who can do it on the football field and the basketball court. That is a very difficult thing to do, especially in today's day and age where everyone's specializing in one thing. This kid is a Division I athlete in 2 sports. Unbelievable. So because of that, I'm going with Moore Park. Next, here's a TV game. This game that I will be attending. It is going to be a good one. 2 teams that are top 10 in the Southern section. It is Mission Viejo traveling out east to Upland.
So Mission Viejo has showed that they can stop passing teams and get turnovers from that. How are they going to do against a team that's predicated on the run? Cameron Davis, the Washington commit for Upland, how can they slow him down? Now, Upland also has weapons on the outside. They have Taj Davis, who's committed to Washington as well at the wide receiver spot. However, they have a new quarterback, and quarterback Evan Rowe has played pretty much mistake-free. He's thrown for 408 yards in their 3 wins. He's got thrown for 3 touchdowns. They're not asking him to do too much. If Mission Viejo stacks the box, can he be the guy to help beat? Can he get the ball to Taj Davis on the outside? I don't necessarily think that that's going to be the case. I like Mission Viejo. Jamari Farrell's had scored 5 TDs on the ground, and the fact that Keely Arnold is doing everything for that team just makes me think that Mission Viejo, they've won a couple tight games, but I think that they'll be able to pull this one out as well.
Yeah, I'm going to read Yellen's stats so far in the season just really quickly. He's got 1,167 yards already and 10 touchdowns. Joseph Forrest, been a good receiver for them. He's got 415 yards and 3 touchdowns already. Lance Keenely, another guy I want to mention at the end, tough to stop. But one guy who I really, really want to mention for Upland, because I love the big hitter, Shotgun, Justin Flo, is a monster. So he's got 7 tackles for loss this season. He's scary. So I'm going to go with Upland just because they're the home team. All other things being equal, I think this is a toss-up game, but I'm going to go with Upland just because they're home.
And Justin Flo could quite possibly is the top linebacker in the country in his class. He might be the top linebacker in California this year, even though he's an underclassman. He is an absolute beast. I mean, I saw him last year, and he not only ran for a touchdown, he had an interception, he returned a punt for a touchdown that was blocked. You know, he just did it all, and I think he had like 11 tackles in the game. He does everything. He is a super intense guy. He's going to hit you. You were right. He's a guy that will definitely lay the lumber. So Mission Viejo will have to watch out for him, but I think that they have the weapons that they can spread it out and just basically go away from him. Oh, Justin Flo's on that side? Make sure we go to this side. Justin Flo's on this side? We're going that way then. We're just staying away from that guy.
Yeah, and I feel like the way he spells his name, Flowe, I feel like it was flower, and once the people saw him walk around, nope, can't be that man is not a flower. That is, we got to get rid of the R there. He's just Flo from now on.
And his nickname is actually Baby Man because he is such a big dude.
He is scary. So, reason why there's no green screen. We've been a little bit busy here at Southern California Prep Insider because we're going to be bringing you a radio show starting next week on the Mighty 1090 station based out of San Diego, but the wavelengths or whatever, I don't know how technical things work, but the radio waves get all the way up to Los Angeles, so we'll be talking Southern Section as well. Shotgun, you will be joining us hopefully as part of that discussion with the radio show. It'll be Monday nights from 7 to 9, Thursday nights from 7 to 8. Thursday will be more of the preview show. Monday will be more of a mixed bag of things. So please be on the lookout for that. And if you're driving, literally all you have to do is just turn to 1090 on your AM dial Mondays and Thursdays, and you can get all the high school sports coverage and action that you want. Shotgun, anything else you want to add?
Nope, just looking forward to another great weekend. There's some great games out there, so if you can get out to a game, and even if you can't get to a game, you should still be watching on your phone or on your TV as well on the Fox Sports Go app.
Yeah, now that we're on radio, we're literally everywhere, so you have no excuse. I know who you are. I will find you if you're not keeping up with our content. That is very poor manners of you. We will be out of here for this week. We'll see you next week with more of the same. I'm Tommy. That is Shotgun. See you next week.